So hi guys, today we will be solving this consecutive days question. It is on Strata Scratch. It is a hard level question. So this question is asked by Netflix. The question says we have to find all the users who were active for 3 consecutive days or more, right? So basically this is the table which is given to us. It contains record date, account ID and user ID as the columns. So before proceeding to this question, I have to explain you the two window functions which are necessary for solving this question. Uh, so let me start with this. So basically there are two window functions, lead and lag. These are majorly used for looking forward or backward in a data set. Basically its functionalities, let's say we have a table like this, right? And we have to, let's say, look forward or backward on row level without joining this table with another table or with this table also. So uh, let's say if we want to check this record with its uh, next record, so how can we use lead window function to do this? So basically lead window function is having this syntax. uh, First we have to pass the column name on which we are applying the window function. Then there is a offset value, which means how many steps we want to see forward or backward. So it can be 1, it can be 2. By default it is taken as 1. If we don't pass this value, it will be taken as 1. So 1 will be compared with 2, 2 will be compared with 3 and so on. And then there is a default value. So let's say you came to the last record of the table, last record of the column, let's say 5. So there is no next record to this. So how will it be compared to another record? So if we don't pass this value of default value, it will show the null value, and if we pass something here, then it will show the lead value as this for the last record of the column, right? And then we have to, there's a similar syntax of every window function over partition by some column and order by some column, right? So this is how lead and lag window function syntax is defined. Similarly in the case of lag, there is a column, there is a step value which can be 1, 2, so on, and then there is a default value and the similar syntax part. So this is the syntax part. And now let me tell you how this window function will work on, let's say, this column. So if there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and we apply this lead window function, so it will give the next value, as there is so it will give 2, 3, 4, 5 and 0, call 1, and this is the lead part. Similarly, if we apply the lag, it will give 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how these window functions are used. So where we find these window function handy is in the case where we have to compare the dates. Let's say there is certain date level data set which is involving key, like we have to compare it with some prior dates or next dates. So we can easily apply lead and lag and compare this date with next date or preceding date. Similarly, the question which we are solving also involves the same demand. Here we have to find out the 3 consecutive days for the users who are active for 3 consecutive days or more. So if we carefully look at this, let me share my screen first. So we have two columns which are we using. There is user ID and there is record date, right? So let's say we have date 1, date 2, date 3, right? This is user 1, user 2, user 3, so on, right? What we have to check is, the question is asking that we have to find out those users who were active for 3 consecutive days. So we can check, like, this is, let's say, okay, so let me first take the case of same users having these 3 dates: user 2, user 3, user 4, dt4, dt5, dt6. So let's say, on any given date we are checking this condition. So let's say, uh, user has user is active on this date, right? Then we will check if the user is active on the next date. So we will apply the lead window function, right? Lead window function to check the next date of this particular user. So it will give dt2, right? Then we will check the lag part, key if this user is active on dt1, to check whether he was active on the prior date as well or not. So the lag part will come 0 here, right? Because there is no records beyond this. Similarly, if we check this thing row level, now we came to second one, right? Now the present date is dt2, right? And the lead part will come as dt3, the lag part will come as dt1. Okay, so basically what we need to check is if the difference between these two data is 1 and the difference between these two data, so it means it is a consecutive day, right? So let's say you can clearly visualize this by, let's say, the 29th of March is there, then it is 30th, it is 31st, right? So these two difference are 1, these two difference are 1, so these are the 3 consecutive days. So this is how we can check users who are active on 3 consecutive days. Okay, so the only thing which we need to do is to, for each individual users, we have to find their preceding date, their next date on the present date, and we have to find out the difference between those two dates from the present date. If both of these difference came out to 1, then this user is our desired result. Okay, so let's try to code this thing, then it will be much more clear. So we have a record date, user ID, then we have to apply the lead on record date, 1,0. There is no need to specify 1,0, like if you will just write lead record date, then it will also do the same thing in this question, but to make the syntax more clear I am writing this. Then there is over partition by user, as we have to check for each user here, right? And then we have to check, say, order by record date, so it will be checking from the first record date to the last record date. Okay, let's name it as ln1. Then similarly we can find out the lag part of it, record date 1,0 over partition by user ID ordered by record date as ln2 from this table, which is sf events. So let's first look at the result which we are getting. So this is how it is getting. So now what we have to do is we have to find out the difference between this record date and this ln1 and this record date and this ln2. So basically this ln1 is showing you the next date for each user going from the sending order, and this ln2 is showing you the previous date which the user was active, right? So let's keep this thing in a CT. Now we can similarly simply check user ID from CT, where we're going to use datediff function, where datediff of ln1 comma record date is equal to 1, and datediff of record date and ln2 is equal to 1. So basically this datediff function will find out the difference between these two dates, and yes, so the previous date which is ln1, sorry, the next date which is ln1 and the current date which is record date is equal to 1. So that means the user is active on the next date from the present day, and this condition it is checking the difference between the dates of present date and the previous date which the user was active, and if this 2 is 1, then it means the user was also active on the previous day. So let us check. So it is returning u4 as the user ID which was active for 3 consecutive days. Now we can submit it, and this is how we are going to solve this question. I hope you guys understood this question. If you don't understood anything, please comment in the section below.